What's up, guys? Mike the Cop here, and we just finished the live stream and recording the Failure to Stop podcast. It was our 5th episode. We talked about all things sovereign citizen, and Tansy told the most amazing, epic sovereign citizen fight story. So check this out. You will not want to miss a piece of this.
You know, I ran into one more sovereign citizen. I've run into a bunch. I had a viral video go out with one, and I forget the guy's name, but the court, he represented himself. It was amazing. But the big one we had was my partner, and she was my beat partner. So we didn't ride in the same car, but we went to all the same calls together because our districts butted up next to each other. And so she got called. It was lunchtime. She got called to a domestic, and it was right in the middle of Raleigh. Headed towards downtown. And so she called and she said, "Hey, I know you're eating lunch. I'm on my way to a domestic. Just to let you know, I'm going to try to handle it by myself. It looks like it's outside on the sidewalk, so I'm not going to be going in any houses or anything like that. So I'll try to handle it on my own. If not, just be ready to head this way and put your lunch away." And I was like, well, I'm just going to put my lunch away and head that way anyway, because if you felt the need to call me on my cell phone, it's probably you don't want to do it by yourself, but you're also just trying not to be a pussy and get on the radio and ask for help. So I packed my lunch. I started heading that way. And I'm glad I did, because about 2 minutes later, she calls and she's like, I really do need you to head this way because there's a gentleman who is blocking my car in the middle of the cop road, the middle of the street. And I don't know why. So I pull up next to her, and sure enough, there's this dude, and he's yelling, he's screaming. She's in her car. She's got the window up. She's just sitting there, and he's yelling and slamming his hands on the hood of her car. And I get up and I was like, "Yo, homie, what's your problem, man? What's going on?" He was like, "My name is Randall L. And, you know, I'm a sovereign citizen of the Moorish nation, and you do not have jurisdiction in this neighborhood, yada, yada, yada." So I walk over to her and I go, "Hey, is this where your call's at?" And she's like, "No, my call's like 3 blocks away." And I was like, "Well, why are we stopped for this asshole?" And she's like, "Because he jumped out in front of my car and he's not letting me move." And I said, "Well, that's really easy." I was like, "Get in your car and then follow me." And so I just aim my car right at him. I hit the gas. He jumps out of the way before I hit him. And then she takes off and we both leave. And I was like, fuck that guy. Like, that's ridiculous. So we drive about 3 blocks down the road and we find the domestics out on the side. It's in a front yard. Mm-hmm. And so they're fighting with each other or whatever in this front yard. And we get out and we start trying to mediate the situation. We get them to calm down. Everything's going well. And then all of a sudden, here comes old Randall L. Bay walking into the grass, and he starts saying, "You do not have jurisdiction in this neighborhood, and please don't give them your name. Don't you fucking give them your name." And the woman's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Don't talk to these officers under the U.S. Confederate, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to talk to them." And they're all like, so the guy goes, "Hey, man, shut the fuck up." And the dude was like, So they start getting in a fight. And now we have the 2 domestic people fighting.
That escalated quickly.
Yes. And so everybody is fighting now. And our lieutenant,
everybody was Moorish fighting.
Yes. So my lieutenant pulls up and he starts trying to figure out what's going on. And so he says, "Sir, you have to leave. You're not a part of this call. This has nothing to do with you. Please exit the premises and get the fuck out of here." And so he's like, "You can't tell me what to do. This is sovereign land. I can be wherever I want. Blah, blah, blah." He's like, "All right, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to leave, or I'm going to have Sir Tansy here put you in cuffs," which is a great thing for a lieutenant to do, right? Like, I'll have him that's why I will never be a lieutenant, because I would just put my hands on him myself. So the guy doesn't heed to his warning. He says, "Tansy, put this man in cuffs." And I go to do it, and the guy bitch slaps me. He just gives me the old open hand bitch slap right to the face, and he takes off.
They call that the sovereign slap.
Oh, the sovereign slap. He gave me the old sovereign slap.
The old SS.
He took off running, and he had Crocs on. And I just remember going,
did he have him in? This is an important question, Tansy. Do you remember, if you look back into this, did he have the Crocs in sport mode?
He had him in 4-wheel drive. He had the strap around the back.
Yeah, the strap on the back.
Yeah,
full sport mode. This is serious business. He was ready. He came ready.
Four-wheel drive.
He came ready.
He was ready to go. So he takes off running, and I know I'm going to catch him. And I'm mad, right? So I'm hungry. I'm hangry. I've just been bitch slapped. And now I'm chasing down. This was going to be no use of force. And I'd already had like 4 that week. And I was like, I don't need any more uses of force. And
there's people in the comments like, "Of course you had 5 use of forces in a week, you racist asshole."
Yeah. And so like now I'm about to have number 6, bitch. So I chase this guy, and I'm trying not to get the use of force, but he keeps turning his head and looking at me while he's running. And I'm on him. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's not getting away from me. I'm just trying to figure out if he's going to stop so I don't have to tackle him, because I don't want to do any paperwork. So I yelled to the guy, and I'm like, "Dude, don't you look back at me. you just stop and put your hands up. And he reaches back and he grabs my vest and he falls to the ground and pulls me on my vest to the ground. And of course, if you've been pulled to the ground by your vest, that's a big thing. Like there's no stopping you from like, if it's like having a handle on your body.
Right.
So no, my face just plows into the ground and I get up and I punch this guy right square in the face. And I punch him right above the eye and a little slit opens up just above his eye. And I was so proud of myself because I was like, holy shit, I just split that dude's face open on one punch. But I looked at my work a little too long because he started swinging back at me. So now he's punching me. Now we're fighting on the ground. We get up. I'm holding on to his dreadlocks. And that lieutenant comes running up and he spear kicks the dude up in the stomach. Both dreads rip out of his head. The lieutenant
is still around. Like he's now he's decided he'll help.
The chase. He was in the chase.
Okay,
and so he kicks this dude. The dreads come out. And now I'm just holding 2 handfuls of dreads. The guy does a back roll, pretty athletic, jumps back up and then runs towards me. Kind of like a football player, just kind of running back the other way. And so I try to grab him by the waist like a rugby tackle. I miss, and he's on. So I'm chasing him. The K9 officer's coming around the house. He goes to clothesline the guy because he doesn't see him. I duck him. The suspect ducks him. Lauren does not duck him. She gets clotheslined by the K9 officer. So now it's just me and this guy still in the chase. And so he runs to a house and he jumps over.
Wait a second. Who got clotheslined?
Lauren, my B partner, she gets clotheslined by the super big K9 officer.
Okay. All right, man.
And K9 did not let the fur missile go because
this is wild.
This is a wild show, and it gets better. So the guy runs to a porch and he jumps over the porch railing. And then I try to jump over the porch railing, but my fat ass fucking collapses the porch railing. So I jump up onto the porch railing, the whole thing just falls in. And so the guy runs to the door and he waits. He's just sitting at the door and I'm running. I'm like, stop. And I think he's done. And then when I get close to him, he slings the door open and tries to smash this glass door on my face. And he runs inside this house, random house, by the way. And now he's running up the stairs of this house. So I'm running up the stairs. He gets to the top. He turns around. He puts both his hands on the railings to like lift himself up off the ground. And he uses both his feet to kick me in the chest. And I fall down the stairs backwards like a fucking cartoon. And now there's a horde of cops trying to get up the stairs behind me, but I'm like laying all up in the stairs. And so I get out and I'm like, fuck this dude. I'm going to beat his ass. So I pull out my baton and I'm trying to swing it at him at the top of the stairs. And I'm tearing down all the pictures in this house that are on the wall and I'm slashing it around and he retreats back into a bedroom. And so he tries to shut the bedroom door and I throw my foot in the door to keep the door from shutting. Well, the lieutenant comes over the back of me, pepper sprays through the crack of the door, which pelts my whole face.
This is talking about the tiny canister that is not going to fill this room. Right. I mean, it's not hitting this dude in the eyes like it's designed.
No.
So it's just making your life miserable.
Just coats my whole face. I look like Braveheart. Instead of blue, it's orange. And so I've got this whole orange
good job,
pepper spray.
Lieutenant. I remember my first fight.
So the dude lets go of the door, which I'm pulling on. So then I fall backwards again. And now all these other cops are trying to get into this room because they want a piece of this action. So they all boot past me and I'm like, fuck them, let them go. I'm covered in pepper spray and I'm tired because I've already had to run. So I'll just let them handle the call from the rest of the way out. And I'm coughing and choking. Well, they get in, the guy grabs this random child and he holds the child up. He's like, you won't tase my kid. You won't tase this kid. And so Lauren, she just pulls the taser out, aims the red dot right at his forehead and pulls the trigger.
Whoa.
So So the first fucking one hits the suspect in the fucking forehead.
Oh no.
And the second dart barely misses the child and catches him in the shoulder. So he drops the kid, hits the ground, but the kid was flailing. And so the kid's arms actually yank the wires out of suspect's face and shoulders. So the guy doesn't really even get tased. So he gets on the ground. He goes to get up. That same cane officer comes in and like Spartan kicks the guy in the chest. He goes through a flat screen TV, breaking the flat screen TV. The guy gets on the ground. He picks up a children's sized rocking chair, smashes it over the cane officer. Wood goes everywhere, breaks the thing. Cane officer kind of loses thing. Because he swung the rocking chair, it makes him off balance and he falls down onto his knees. So I run in, barely able to see, and I football kick this dude right in the face, thinking this has got to end this whole thing now. Like I just kicked him. I just teed off on his face with my foot. Well, his head whips back. He hits the ground. Blood just goes everywhere. He rolls over, not giving a fuck about my kick, gets back up and starts to try to tackle. And at that point, the cane officer dives down on top of him, flattens him, pancakes him. Now we're trying to get the handcuffs on. Coffee cups start flying past my head, smashing on the wall in front of
Who's this? Who's throwing this?
some fucking woman in the house who's yelling, get off of the guy.
Another sovereign? Dang it.
No, she's just some woman that just doesn't, just thinks that we're trying to beat up some poor black kid. So she grabs my vest by the back and pulls me off.
Okay. This isn't even his house.
No, not even his house.
So this is a random kid?
That he grabs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just some fucking 4-year-old child.
Just some kid.
Yeah.
Who is sitting in his room.
Now we later learned that he did know those people.
Okay.
We later learned that, but at the time,
it's not his kid.
No,
it's not his wife throwing coffee cups at you or something.
No, this is just like some auntie or like everybody in the ghetto, like that's my aunt, that's my brother, that's my sister.
Sure.
Like, it could be, it could not be. But at the time, we have no idea. We don't even we're not even at the house of the domestic. This whole thing has just gone to shit. And so she pulls me off of him, and I turn around and I can't breathe because of the pepper spray at this point. And I try to chase her. She goes out a fire escape and fucking Batman's it all the way down to the ground. I'm like, I can't even see enough to go down there. I'm not even going to do it. So anyway, we get the whole guy in handcuffs. He bites the EMS worker on the way out. They hit him up with all this Narcan, and there's blood everywhere, and they get him to the hospital. He claws another officer, just brutally claws him with these long fingernails. And we go to court. And this thing goes
crack nails.
He had the crack nails, and we go to court, and the court thing lasted over the span of 2 years. And they actually reduced all of the charges down to misdemeanor RDO. And the reason being is because the lawyer, which was also a sovereign citizen, was able to trick the judge by saying that this whole thing started on 5 Fs. It started with a fear of the police, which caused their suspect to flee the police, which then made a
he was so afraid of you that he came blocks away.
We weren't allowed to bring that part
up.
We weren't allowed to bring that part up in the court case. We couldn't talk about what happened previous.
Because there was what started everything.
Yeah, but that was hearsay. So they didn't get to hear that part.
What about the people in the domestic? They knew that guy walked over there with nothing to do with it.
I'm telling you, juries can be some of the stupidest, dumbest groups of people on earth, and they will just believe. Sounds like
he got a jury of his peers.
So yes. So then because of the fear and the flight and unlawful use of force, which was the third one or the fourth one, which then created a fraudulent arrest, because then we had to inject him with memory loss drugs. And that was what the Narcan was. And they were able to articulate that you can lose memory over not the Narcan, but the Haldol or the Haldol, whatever
it was to calm his ass down.
And so it was a shit show of a court case, and everything got pled down to back down to a misdemeanor.
Wow.
So, after the biggest, brutalest fight all over a sovereign citizen interjecting himself. Again, remember, he wasn't a part of this domestic, and he had nothing to do with this. So this guy just kind of wanted to go to jail that day.
Thanks for watching and listening to the story. Hope you liked it. If you did, subscribe, follow, share it up everywhere. And wherever you listen to podcasts, please go follow, subscribe, drop a rating and a review, all that good stuff. We're just getting started. We appreciate you guys. Wolfpack Unite.